Hello everyone, it's MacFounder here, and in today's video we will be going over the Botania mod, a basic introduction, how to craft the necessary items you'll be needing and different types of crafting blocks, the Apothecary, the mana pool, the Runic Alter, etc. And basically we're going to go over how to create generating flowers and use them for functional flowers. So the first thing we'll be crafting is the Apothecary. The Apothecary is basically what we're going to be using to create the different flowers in Botania. You will need 6 cobblestone blocks, 1 mystical petal of any color, and then you can get the petal Apothecary. Now you can find mystical petals all over your Minecraft world. Here are some mystical black flowers, there's some pink ones over here, and you just use the petals from those basically for the recipe. Now, the first magical flower we will be needing is the Pure Daisy. This is very important because it is going to purify other blocks so that we can use them for the crafting recipes for Botania, like living wood and living rock, for example. So, we will be needing some white petals, mystical white petals, and we will need 4 of those. So you can find mystical white flowers also throughout the world. There are actually some over here. And you can also use white mushrooms, which you can find deep underground. So the petals from these are what we'll be using to make the Pure Daisy. So we're going to fill our Apothecary up with water, and we are just going to throw in the different ingredients. So as you can see, there's like a little thing that shows you what you've thrown in. So we're going to throw 4 of those in, and then some normal seeds, and we get the Pure Daisy. Now, we are going to take some items and purify them. Some wood and stone. So here's some oak wood. We're just going to get some regular stone. And we're going to put it in the middle and surround it. And as you can see, we have these particle effects, which shows it's in the process of purifying these items. Right, now while this is busy purifying, we are going to get on to the next part, which is to create the Wand of the Forest. The Wand of the Forest is very important because it allows us to bind different blocks and flowers together and to also change their function. So we are going to need 6 living wood, or living logs I should say, and we're going to put them like so to get 3 living twigs. Then we are going to arrange them in a diagonal pattern, and we can use any 2 mystical petals, and we can create our Wand of the Forest, which we now have. Ta-da! So, after that, we are going to create the next important thing. We will need 5 living rock, and it is to create the mana pool. So this is going to store all the mana we get from our generating flowers, and you can create it like so, and we have the mana pool. So I think we'll put it around about here. And you can see this just finished purifying. Perfect. So, now, in order to direct mana into the pool, we are going to need a mana spreader. The recipe for that will be as follows. Right, so the mana spreader basically will collect mana from our generating flowers and direct it into our mana pool. So we are going to need 6 living wood logs, arranged like so, a copper ingot, and a mystical petal. And this will give us the mana spreader. So we're going to place it down over here, facing our mana pool. Then we're going to hold the Wand of the Forest. Now you can see the direction the mana is pointing in, and we are going to click Shift, right click the mana spreader, and then right click the mana pool. Now you can see it's angled down, so it'll be directing all the mana it gets into here. Now the first thing we're going to do is we're going to need to create a generating flower, basically a flower that generates mana. Now, in this tutorial, I'm going to use the Endotherm, and we are going to craft it like so. So we're going to head back to the Apothecary, and we are going to put some water in here. We are going to need 2 mystical brown petals, 1 mystical red petal, and 1 mystical light grey petal, and of course some normal seeds. And then we're going to throw all of these in here. And here we go. We have the Endotherm. So basically what this generating flower will do is it will consume things to produce mana. Think of it sort of as a furnace in a way. So we're going to grab some coal or wood, you can use either or, and we're just going to throw it right over here. As you can see, it is using it up, and there's a little tick by the mana spreader, so it is connected, and you can actually see that the mana pool is now collecting mana, and you can see these surges of mana going into the pool. Right, so now we have a source of mana, we have a place to store it and a way to spread it. Now we need to use it for something. So in this tutorial I'm going to be using the Agri Carnation as an example of what you can use mana for, and I will show you the recipe for that next. So as you can see, I've added a lot more generating flowers, just so that the mana pool has a fair amount of mana, as we are going to be needing a lot of it. So we are going to need to create the Runic Alter. The reason why is because in order to create the Agri Carnation, we need to create the Rune of Spring, which will require us to make the Rune of Fire and the Rune of Water. So in order to get those, we are going to need the Runic Alter. Now mana pools can also be used to craft things by throwing items into them, so we are going to need to create a mana pool. So it's as simple as just throwing it in. And there we go, we have the mana pool. Then we're going to need 5 living rock, and we are going to put the mana pool inside of it. And here we have the Runic Alter. Now we're going to put this over here, and you can see it's this pretty cool little thing. And the next thing that we're going to need to make is the Rune of Water and Fire. Right, so to craft the Rune of Water, we are going to need 1 sugarcane, 1 mana steel ingot, 1 mana powder, a fishing rod, and bone meal. Now, to get mana powder and mana steel ingots, we are going to take an iron ingot, and you can use sugar, redstone, or gunpowder, and we're going to throw these into the mana pool. So there we go, we threw that in. I already have some in my inventory, so it popped up over there, and we can do the same with the iron ingot. Now we have the necessary items. So we're going to place each one of them on the altar. And you can see there is the Rune of Water. We can't craft it because we need more power. I'm just going to use the second mana spreader and put it over here. And I'm going to use the Wand of the Forest and link it up to the altar. You can see it's charging very quickly, as it's using all the mana we've been storing in there. It is now ready. So we need to place the living rock block in the middle, use our Wand of the Forest, right click, and just like that we have the Rune of Water. Now the next one we're going to need to make is the Rune of Fire. So that will require gunpowder, nether warts, and nether bricks, and it will require mana powder and mana steel ingots. So we're going to place each one of those down again. And that is the Rune of Fire. It's charging up, it's getting ready. These pretty cool little effects are happening in the middle as it crafts it. And it's ready. Place down the living rock, right click with the wand, and we now have the Rune of Fire and we have the Rune of Water. Now the next thing is of course the Rune of Spring, so that we can get the next step done. Okay, I'm just trying to make sure I have everything here. It's getting a bit dark, so I'm just going to make it daytime again. There we go. Then we're going to place the Rune of Fire, the Rune of Water, 1 wheat, and 3 saplings. And here we go, we have the Rune of Spring now. Well, it's on the way. Busy baking. This is probably using a significant amount of energy. This took a while to charge. And finally we have the most important one. Bam, we have the Rune of Spring. That's finally done. Okay, now we need to create the flower. Now to craft the Agri Carnation, we are going to need 1 redstone root, which you can craft using grass and some redstone dust. And you're going to need 2 mystical lime petals, 1 mystical green petal, 1 mystical yellow petal, the Rune of Spring, which we so painstakingly crafted, and of course some seeds to finish the process. So we've refilled our Apothecary. We're going to throw each item in. And there we go, and some seeds. And we finally have the Agri Carnation. So this is a functional flower. This flower is here to perform a purpose of some kind. So with the Agri Carnation, it has the ability to speed up the growth of plants. So if you were like someone who was trying to mass produce food in your Minecraft world, you would probably want the Agri Carnation. Now it has to be within 7 blocks of the mana pool in order for it to function or work. So we are going to find a nice little spot to put it. I'm going to put it 1, 2, 3. I think I'll put it on this side. Just going to place a few more blocks down. Okay, and I'm going to put it over here and create a little bit of a farm, or just a little place to grow things. And do this. Okay, now that we've made a little spot for it, you can see it's linked up to the mana pool. There's a little tick with the mana pool icon, and we are going to start planting some random things. So like some wheat seeds, maybe some carrots. And as you can see, it is starting to fertilize the different plants that we have placed, and you can see they're starting to grow relatively quickly. So there we go, we've got a complete process. We've got the generating flowers, how to store the energy, and then how to utilize that energy to perform a function, in this case speeding up the growth of crops. There are different kinds of functional flowers that do various things. Botania is a very large mod, and this is really just scratching the surface. This is like just the beginning. So we will probably do more. I will probably do more videos on this mod. As you can see, that one's just doing extremely well. But yeah, this is it for now. This is just a basic introduction and how to use what the mod has to offer on a practical level. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed, and I guess I'll see you around. Cheerio!